Alright, so we're going to go over a few more examples of matrix multiplication. These are going to be from the actual assignment of matrix multiplication. And so follow along on your assignment, you can get a little bit extra help here. So we're going to do the rows of the first one times the columns of the second one. So this first matrix only has one row, but it's going to get times by both of these columns. So I'm going to do first row times first column. The first things times together and the second things times together, and then you add. So I'm going to do negative 3 times 4 plus 4 times negative 2. And that's the first entry of this matrix. So I erase this stuff. I'm going to switch colors. So now I'm going to do this row times this column. Once again, first things times together, second things times together, and then you add. So it's going to be negative 3 times negative 5 plus 4 times 3. And now that we've done every row of the first times every column of the second, this is actually done. And so that's our matrix. It's only going to have one row and two columns. When you simplify these expressions, you'll get your final answer. This part, negative 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So negative 12 plus negative 8 is negative 20. This is going to be 15 plus 12 is going to give me 27. And voila, here's my resulting matrix. Let's jump to another one so you can see it again. I'm going to do rows of the first times the columns of the second. So I'm going to have this one row times these three columns. And then I'm going to have to do this row times these three columns. And when you move to a new row in your resulting here, I'm going to do my first row here, and when I end up doing this one, it's going to times by these three columns, and that's going to make a second row in my resulting matrix. So I got this row times this column. Remember, first things times together, second things times together, and then you add. So I'm going to have 1 times negative 4 plus negative 4 times negative 2. And then I'm going to move on to the next column. Same row, but now it's the next column. 1 times 0 plus negative 4 times 6. And then I'm going to do my first row times my third column. So it's going to be 1 times negative 3 plus negative 4 times negative 6. So there's my first row times all the columns. So first row, 3 columns for my first row. So now I'm going to move on to my second row. Let's change colors. So my second row times these three columns. Once again, it's going to be first things times together, second things times together. If there were third ones, you times those. And then you add them all together. So now I got negative 2 times negative 4 plus 1 times negative 2. And now I'm going to move on to the next column. So my first row times my second column. Second row times second column, negative 2 times 0 plus 1 times 6. And then I'm going to do this row times the last column, and give me negative 2 times negative 3 plus 1 times negative 6. So I wrote all those out, and now I can simplify. This has 2 rows and 3 columns, so it has 6 entries. I'm going to simplify each part of these. Let's see, that's negative 4 plus 8, which is going to be 4. This one's going to be 0 plus negative 24, which is negative 24. This is going to be negative 3 plus 12, which is going to be 9. And my second row here is going to be negative 8 plus negative 2, which is going to be negative 10. This is going to be 0 plus 6, which is 6. And then 6 plus negative 6, which is negative 12. And voila, we have our resulting matrix. And there you go. So there's a couple extra examples for you to work from.